Very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's uLaw webinar. First webinar for the new year 2022. So from the uLaw family, wanted to wish you and your family and friends a very, very happy, safe, prosperous, healthy, wealthy new year. I welcome you to the first webinar today that's going to be on the topic of business reporting using the uLaw platform. We didn't want to start right away with the CPD accreditation and keep it heavy. It's kind of a lighter version of our first webinar session. So today's webinar is not accredited for any CPD credits, but we're definitely making some changes to the overall webinar series this year. So definitely look out for some new interesting topics that we will revise starting as we move forward. I believe we're set our ways for the month of Jan. We're probably going to start revising some of these in the months to come. So like every other uLaw webinar, today's webinar will have this very specific agenda to pretty much talk about the overall reporting capabilities within the uLaw platform. As you know, uLaw is a Canadian company that's been doing business now for almost 13 years, very successfully, serving the needs of Canadian legal practitioners. And we are a legal accounting platform along with a practice management suite, right, along with a business accounting suite, all built into one platform, easily provided to you in a cloud or web-enabled way. With our mobile app, both on Android and iOS, you're now able to report on data, make entries into data. We're also making some headway in making speech-to-text innovations within the platform that would hopefully allow you to dock it from your Apple Watch or your phone. We've already done it on the web version. We're definitely going to be showcasing that to you in a few weeks. But we're also moving forward with that level of sophistication into the mobile app. And the reason I mentioned that is because the reporting capabilities are also readily available. The top reports or dashboards are readily available to you on your mobile app. So I encourage you, if you haven't downloaded it, and if you are a current user of the uLaw platform, download our app from the iOS and Android. It's free of cost. You just have to use your username and password. Okay? Now, this particular slide share, of course, we've used and repurposed it for many years now, or maybe our second year now. And when we talk about reporting capabilities, we say there's about 30 reports. Hi, so I did start off by saying that this is not a CPD accredited webinar. We will have in fact, let me take just a quick minute to show you our webinar series. This is just so that we can give you a bit of a context for the year, but we're going to be changing these. But next week's session is going to be a CPD session on law society bookkeeping compliance, okay? The reason we started off with reporting is you may have some needs for the new year to report on your yearly report. You may have a few other things that you may want to start off with. And again, as I mentioned, keeping it a bit light. With over 30 reports, and that's growing, I think we almost have about 40 plus reports today. Oh, thank you. I apologize that the email did not say that. Typically, if it's a CPD, we do mention it in the email. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. From an overall reporting standpoint, what we've done is we've kind of broken it down almost in line with the compliance nature, but also in line with the uLaw platform itself, right? So you have customer, client, or contact level reporting capabilities. You have file level or matter level reporting capabilities. Of course, then there's the key accounting level reporting capabilities. And if you were to break that accounting reports into two sides, you of course have the law society related legal files, client-based reporting around accounting. So ledgers, journals that talk about your customer, trust, general money coming in, all related to file and law society compliance. On the other side, as I mentioned before, we're also a full-fledged business accounting suite. So if you're looking for a platform to do your expenses, to manage all of your expenses as well, office expenses beyond disbursements, you could use uLaw just for that. And we give you reporting capabilities around that as well. For example, your expense report, P&L. In fact, we give you your year-end report, profit statement, etc. So pretty much what you would expect from a business accounting software. We provide that. We allow easy integration with your bank, allowing you to download your statements for the month, making it easier for it to reconcile. Not just your trust account, but your general account for your own business hygiene and well-being as well, right? So from an accounting perspective, you have Law Society and your office-related expense accounting reports. And then from a time management perspective, we have our calendar-based reports that pretty much gives you timesheets, effort, revenue, based on time, based on customer, based on different employees within the firm. And last but not the least, we offer certain dashboarding capabilities, which are, again, data that's being driven out of the database that holds all of your data in the cloud, in a very secure manner. Reports are typically, in your mind, you'd come across these documents that you can print. But we also offer you, if you were to take the word reporting from a standpoint of giving you information, we also have various dashboards that you can now view on your mobile app as well. So that's really the high-level context or agenda for today's presentation. I'm going to be trying to move into a demo mode real quick, so I'll just set the context. So from a contact report, we have the top three that we know all our customers use. Source of contact, which is a great marketing report. We continue to emphasize the need for you to check that report on a regular basis. It gives you real insight on where your customers are coming from. It also adds up to be a Law Society compliance document when you're being asked for it. You readily have it. Client Ebook, if you really want a quick snapshot of where the fee structure stands, how much has the customer paid you, how much is outstanding, things of that nature to get caught up on accounts receivables. Great report, very specific to the client across matters. You can also pretty much draw a contact list, which sometimes auditors do ask for as well. File-based reports or matter reports, of course, you have a few more. The top five, I would say, are definitely statement of activity. If you are in the business of legal aid, we find a lot of our customers really benefit from the legal aid report. We have timesheet, timeline reports, and of course, bill of cost for those specific areas of practices where your customers are asking you to generate one. Okay. Now, what you don't see here are, of course, invoices, if you were to consider them as a report, right? Ledgers and journals that are specific to a customer, that's a very specific matter-based report. So what's the ledger for this particular matter? You can generate those. But most often we find customers generating ledgers and journals for the entire business on a more time period basis, not on a specific matter basis unless you need to deliver it as part of a package to your customer, in which case you'd have it. We'll definitely get into a demo mode and I'll showcase to you on where you can find these reports, what's changing, and how you can benefit from it. There's quite a few accounting reports. As I said, we do have two different sides to the accounting aspect of what we offer to you as a business solution. If you were to consider the Law Society compliance, you have your trust ledgers, general ledgers, your journals, trust in general, your expense ledger, pro bono reports that are more legal office specific, and expense book is also a part of a Law Society compliance. In addition, of course, you could have jurisdictional documents or reports such as Form 9A, which you may consider as a report. Sometimes it's not. But if you were to consider that as a report that you do have to file or present when you're being asked for it, then yes, you have the Form 9A. But then you have the other side of your business where you're doing your office expenses. So you certainly have your expense report, your revenue report, your invoice balances. Invoice balances also show trust balances. If there's any pending trust transfers that you have to do, very well available in that. Aging receivables and payables. So as I mentioned, not only are you talking about, money coming in, you're also talking about money leaving your business. So if you're responsible for payables to vendors, then you can manage those. And last but not the least, jurisdictional taxes. So if you're in the province of Ontario, HST, GST, PST, whatever is applicable to you, because we do have the functionality and we do serve clients across almost all provinces in the country. And so yeah, you can generate the reporting capabilities, accounting level for those as well. Time-based reports under calendar would be your timesheets, your client and service level summaries. You can even combine them into one. And this is particularly beneficial if you're a growing firm and you certainly want to understand where the biggest bang is coming for your buck in terms of your employees. Where are they spending their time and energy? How is their time being reflected into revenue? We all know time is money. This report essentially shows you that conversion. And if you're a solo practitioner, then you can certainly generate your work in progress report, which is a fantastic tool for you to plan your day and your week ahead. It gives you a quick gist of things that you need to get accomplished. You could also pretty much generate a daily or weekly schedule report of tasks that you want to get accomplished, and so on and so forth. So these are all very good time-based reports that you could generate from the system. Okay. Now, in addition to the reports, we have our dashboards. We call them analytics, and we deliver them to you both on the web version of our platform as well as on the mobile version of our platform on Android and iOS. In addition to this, for those who are intrigued by the truth in their data, for lack of a better term, we have some very interesting analytics pretty much hidden with the platform. These are not compliance related. These are not your day in and day out ledgers journal types. These are interesting facts that allow you to think about where you've been and where you want to head next. So 2022 moving forward, this is a great time for you to generate these types of reports, really understand the insight to your business provided to you by the data. And we also give you notifications, and you can turn them on or off with some insights on your business. Okay? With no further delay, I'm going to now quickly shift into my demo mode. And you can see right away, there's a little notification. You might think, what the heck is that? And it's really disturbing, first thing in the day. But as the day settles on a Friday afternoon, well, it may interest you to know certain key pieces of information that could actually help you in certain important business decisions. For those who have joined us today and want to learn more about uLaw as a company, please do visit our website, uLaw.io or uLawPractice.com. We do offer a free 30-day trial for current clients of ours. If you are in that mood of giving, we encourage and request your help in spreading the word and sharing what the benefits that you've earned, hopefully, from the platform to others who are looking for a similar platform and similar benefits. Please do refer your friend. We actually have a referral program right under our uLaw platform. You can refer a friend and actually get paid for it as well. But no, it's more than the money. It's the ambassadorship. It's the relationship that hopefully we've earned your trust for you to provide. So you can see here, there's about 196 active matters, 96 in fact, if fully compliant with the Law Society's needs. You can click on this little bell icon at any time and turn it off if that's bothering your day-to-day activity. Okay. The opening dashboard in itself gives you some important data elements that you can work with, but that's for another day. I'm going to jump right into my Contacts tab, and you can see on the left-hand side you have 7 menu options, like 7 days of the week. We'll first start off with the Contacts, and as you know, this is where you're starting off your journey within the uLaw platform, right? This is where you're adding a client, or this is where you're adding a party that may be part of a matter. So contact information of people or a organization is pretty much what happens. But if that contact happens to be a client, which in many cases is, it's that starting point of that journey of that client within your file. Let me look at Krispy Kreme or Patricia Kendall. Okay. You first are able to search for contacts before you can report on them. But a general rule within the platform for user navigation is there's a document generation tab on the top right corner, which you would find across pretty much all of your menu options. Here's your document generation under Matters. Here's your document generation under Accounts. I think we also have it under, yeah, there you go. You have a document generation under Quick View as well. So 4 out of the 7 options, and in fact, under Calendar, you don't have it as document generation, but you just have it under your calendar reports. As I mentioned, general rule, if you find document generation, this is where you can go ahead and get into reports. I know there's a quick question around how do you correct an error, so we'll be more than happy to help you with that. Depending on how much that invoice cycle has moved forward, you may have to reverse, or you could, if you haven't, we can certainly help you with that. If you want to, please contact our support. I think our support staff is available, so we appreciate if you could help out our client here. Oh, my spelling is a bit off today. If you can email to that, or we'll give you a call back if you need. We'll definitely be able to help you with that. All right, so from a reporting standpoint, you can see in most of our document generation, we have reports as a categorization or a classification. Let's start off with the source of contact. It's my favorite report. I'm in client success, marketing, sales, and it's very important for us as a business in uLaw to understand where are we getting our clients from. Because everyone's trying to market their brand, everyone's trying to get the word out, and we want to understand if the initiative and the marketing efforts that we're taking are paying off. You know, if I'm going to be spending ad money on Google Ads or LinkedIn or Twitter, Instagram, you name it, all of these platforms now have an audience, and you may choose LinkedIn, you may choose to pay them for as a service to get the word out. You may be using newspaper ads, whatever, right? Radio. A good opportunity to understand the channel that's working best for you is to be able to ask your client when they walk into your office or go online to give you their information, right? And if you're saving that information into the uLaw database, and maybe I'll start there, and you're saving a new contact, one of the data fields that we ask you right away is the source of contact. Okay, so we essentially ask you to ask your client, how did they get to know you? Okay, so when you're filing that information about your client, when you're doing that client intake, you could ask them, thank you so much, but how did you learn about us? This particular information, when you capture it and associate it with that client, becomes very important. So when you say family, that gets saved accordingly. We're making some interesting changes to the source of contact too, so can I give you more subcategorization in the coming weeks? But that's definitely a great product update that's definitely in the works for this year. But at a high level, even at that, it's pretty helpful. I'm going to, not sure if there's going to be any data in it for the first. Go back in time. And let's say for the month of December of 2021. Let me generate my first report for this webinar, the source of contact report. So when you generate a report in uLaw, it gets generated and pushed down to the device that you're using to use the web browser on. And you can see there's been 3 customers. Of course, this is not a perfect world. This is a dummy test data or demo data. We have one that's come from friends, another contact from family. In fact, there's one contact that's not categorized. Now, if you come further down, we also give you that information. So here's Krispy Kreme as a client. There you go. You can just search up Krispy Kreme. And let's say you give them a call the next time they call you, and maybe this is a business. This was maybe an online, so there you go. You found it by a newspaper. You could say newspaper. Add to that particular data component. So you've just updated your source of contact report. And if I rerun that report, of course, I'm going to find for the month of December, I had 3 different sources for my customer. Right? One coming from friends, the other from family, and the third from newspaper. I'm sure you can see the value as this list grows. You can see, there you go. You have 3 different data sources. If you were to do that for the whole year, you probably get a better context. We'll let that run on the site, and that's an important aspect of the power of the cloud. As that's running in the background, you can go ahead and generate your next report or actually go ahead and do something else. So if I were to look at the client Ebook for Krispy Kreme, I can actually do a quick show only. You can see there's no entries. There's really not much work done in this matter. Now here's the overall 2021 source of contact report. You can see my top performing source of contact has been family, closely followed by client referral, and my Facebook on web seems to be working. So maybe I think about providing more advertisements on Facebook going forward. The word of mouth needs to be higher than where it is, so maybe invest in a referral program. So that's kind of the insight that we're able to provide you so that you can infer from it and then make decisions for the new year. Okay. If I look at Gregory Brown, and we're still in the contact reporting. Under reports, if I were to look at people, I'm hoping he has some information. He does. Perfect. So the client Ebook is something that you can quickly download. And this is in a report format if you need that, and if that's helpful. And it tells you right away basic information about the client, their address, etc. the total invoice amount, total paid, the balance in that particular matter. Gives you the interesting insight that there was $1,000 received in trust funds, which means there is money in trust, right? But most importantly, we tell you there's $542.40 in pending trust transfer. What that really means is that you have invoiced this client and you've earned the right to this money. You just haven't done your transfer, or you haven't told the uLaw platform that you have done it. Maybe you've done it in real life, you've just not reflected it into the system yet. So it could be one of those two things. If it's the latter, then it's easier. If it's the former, then it's a good reminder for you to go ahead and do it in real life as well as reflect it into the uLaw platform. Okay? And client invoice list. Again, you can do it for date range, or you can just do it overall. I don't think this is a good date range. You can also generate your invoice list. And you can see these are all the invoices generated for Gregory. There's just one matter. So imagine if there were multiple matters, then it would result, if it's an ongoing matter, it would result in more details. So you have one invoice generated for $480 plus tax. There's another $200 disbursement. Which you would understand once you go into the matter too. Let's call this the question mark. This tells you pretty much what you need to know. Okay? And this is where you can do your trust transfer as well. You can see that disbursement has been paid right from trust, so that's why you see that. Awesome. So you have three different reports: the client invoice list for that particular customer. You have your fee book to understand what's pending for you to make your money. And if there's no trust money involved and if there's just payments to be made, then you reach out to your client for payment. And of course, there's the source of contact. And we have this orange compliance button, which we introduced mid last year, which also gives you these reports, the top reports that we think are beneficial to you, both from your business standpoint and a compliant law society compliance standpoint. And you can very well generate them right from that. Okay? Generate envelopes, labels, whatever you choose to. Now we move on to the matter level reporting capabilities. I'll pause and take any questions that you may have with regards to, I guess, today's webinar session. Any questions with regards to the contact level reporting? Any feedback, we'll be more than happy to take it right now. I'll give you another 30 seconds, and if not, I'll continue to move on to the matter level reporting. Okay, please give me a good chance to grab a cup of water. Alrighty, so I'm going to move on to the next aspect of the reporting capabilities around matters. Same place, document generation, you have reports. As I mentioned before, the top report really you might want to think about are invoices and receipts if you consider them as reports. We typically don't, where they're documents, they're business documents. But if they're reporting a certain data element, and if you consider them, then yes, it's available right here for you to reprint as well. Looks like you haven't generated any invoices yet. Okay. But what other reports are available to you? Again, we're not considering court forms as reports either. They're documents, they're business documents. But if you do consider them as a report, then you have a bunch of such documents across the province of Ontario, right from small claims to civil. I'll start off with the statement of activity. You can also generate them right from your compliance. That makes it easier. Now, a few important compliance documents, not so much reports that are available right away, are your client ID verification. If you're just getting started with the client intake document, your conflict screening report. So that might be an interesting document, really for you to articulate how did you go about screening your customer to ensure there were no conflicts in representing them. Okay. So you could say, I took Gregory's driver's license. It's a new client. You can see there's a defendant, a representative. You can say no conflict, no actions taken. And this is actually a compliant document. Statement of activity gives you a picture of what's happened in this matter so far. Sometimes customers do ask for this, so it's more thorough in terms of the work put in. So you can see there's different dockets for this customer. It pretty much accumulates the hours. And we have a nice little summary report. This was introduced because we have a lot of customers who have ongoing matters, and sometimes their end clients do ask for a quick summary of what's done or a certain date range. You can see that this is an ongoing matter, and this is pretty much what's happened in this matter so far, financially too. A retainer was received, right? $200 has been withdrawn as a disbursement. The trust invoice payment was done for another $200 and hence was left with $600. And in that, there's $542 worth of legal fees that have yet to be paid from trust to general. Okay. Gives you a good picture, gives your customer a great picture as well. All righty. Now, some important documents or reports, if I were to call them letters, then they're letters again. But one of the things I enjoy really helping with our customers is the closing letter and the non-engagement. Because often you have templatizations done for your, invoices. You may have them even for your letter of engagement, your retainer letters. But the non-engagement letter is a great, simple document that often is very instrumental in ensuring or safeguarding your own sanity as a legal practitioner. And these are the types of documents that are readily available to you to generate, with a lot of information being pre-populated. So have a look at, again, the orange button for compliance, the document generation under reports. Legal aid, if this matter is a legal aid matter, you can generate that. If you can provide your client ID, all the information, we then print it out or provide it to you in a template that's applicable or compliant with the Law Society's legal format. Okay? And if you want to generate the effort put in a timesheet format for this particular matter, and you have that as well. So you can see there's just one individual, Roger Moore, has done the majority of the work, if not all the work, the estimated time and the billable time. Okay. Okay. So we looked at contact level reports, a few matter level reports, both compliant as well as other documents that may be helpful. We'll kind of move on to the accounting. Once again, I'll pause for another 30 seconds if you have any questions regarding matter level reporting before I move on. Okay. I will move on to the accounting level reports next. And I'll be honest, this is where I guess you get your maximum benefit in terms of a platform that merges both law society's requirements as well as your office business requirements. That's the power of a legal accounting platform. Of course, gives you a unified picture of your overall tax situation, gives you a unified picture of your expenses, because as a legal office, right, I'm sure you can appreciate, and I've said this in many of my previous webinars, the legal firm is a unique business where you're not only paying for your own office expenses, you're also actually sometimes paying expenses on behalf of your clients, right? And the way Law Society wants you to manage these expenses, again, comes under a lot of scrutiny. And these are expenses that are recoverable. So it kind of is a revenue. It's a recoverable revenue. Let's put it that way. But it's an expense to begin with, especially if you don't have trust money or any other format of safeguarding your interest, right? So you have to pay that money first. Now, in having that advantage of a platform such as uLaw to give you both sides, the data capture on both sides of the coin, gives you this benefit of generating reports that draws information from both these sides. Okay, so I'll give you a quick example here. Go under document generation, you can see under reports there are quite a few. The balance sheet, trial balance, revenue, expense, P&L, those are the top 5 reports purely from an accounting standpoint of your business. We'll start with maybe your revenue report. You can have a look at the last year's revenue report. Okay, all right. So I want to generate my revenue report, and there it is, matter of seconds. It tells you that you've earned close to $12,000 from small claims. Your total revenue or income was $43,000 last year. Let's say for this Roger Moore. And this is where that revenue came from. Almost 14% came from Wilson Estate, 16% from civil, a good 30% or almost small claims. Okay. That's just a revenue. If you want to look at your expense, you can do that as well. But keep in mind, this is where you first start off to look for client expenses that are fees paid for client or disbursements, right? So the expense report does have the disbursements as part of it, which is about $2,000. So if you really want to understand how much typically are you paying, this gives you a good handle to understand if you have to start incorporating trust or retainers as part of your engagement. And it's, in fact, many times has helped our customer make that decision. If this number was high, and let's say you're not recovering that number, maybe because you missed out or lack of time, whatever may be the reason, then it's important you consider using retainers so that you don't miss out in recovering this. So you have right from salaries, which are expenses, disbursements. In fact, there's another one called expenses on client account. So in total, it's about $3,100. And then comes your office expenses, right from printing stationery to monthly expenses for credit card companies. If you're at a firm offering benefits and pension plans, those are expenses for your firm. So in total, there's about $14,000 in expenses. Okay. Of course, you can generate the P&L, which I should have done to begin with because that gives you both. But I find sometimes business owners, when you look at revenue on a certain day, look at expenses on a certain day, and look at P&L on a totally different day. It's all in the mindset. This gives you now the same division or summarization both for revenue and expenses, and tells you that hey, there's $43,000 in revenue, there's about $14,000 in expenses, and that's the total profit you made, $29,114. So you take this information as your baseline for 2022, understand where your revenue came from, understand from the source of, so first and foremost, which area of practice that you focus on gives you the biggest bang for your buck. So definitely putting more ad dollars or repeat customer rewards, or could be different marketing strategies that you have to go out and think about. Maybe working with more firms if you're going to do a lot of sub work. Or maybe you want to think about Wilson Estate or LNTB. You could see the speeding tickets coming down, and that's something we're starting to see. With not many people driving to begin with the COVID situation, right? And you can now couple this area of practice report along with your source of contact report. Say, if small claims is my top performing area of revenue, where am I getting my customers mostly from? So if that's coming from family, then you can draw parallels saying how many of those are converting into a customer, and hence how much of money are they giving you. Okay, so you can use that as a backtrack. Likewise, you could use the expenses as a way to understand where are your top expenses. So office supplies are your top expenses. Almost 30% of your yearly expense went towards that. So what can you do about it, right? Do you buy them in bulk, sometimes in Costco, or that makes it easier, cheaper? Or maybe there was a major expense such as a laptop or something like that. And maybe this year you'd predict that to be lower, right? So planning is a big component of any financial year of start of year, and the reports tend to provide you the ammunition needed to make informed decisions, good business decisions. Okay, so we looked at P&L, revenue, expense. You can even go as further down as a balance sheet. Okay, typically this is what you're paying an accountant or maybe your own bookkeeper to generate. If you can ensure that the data is right and you reconcile your general account, then we can give you this information. Click of button. Okay. All right. What else do I got? Okay, we spoke of invoice balances. So during the actual execution of your business, a very important component is following up for payments. Right? Often we find this to be the case, if no trust money or a retainer vehicle as a financial vehicle was utilized during that business transaction. And hence, we encourage and advocate to you to consider retainer agreements, stronger retainer agreements, and really emphasizing the need to use these trust accounts as a way of safeguarding your own business, as well as making it easier for your customers to pay you. Okay? They pay you in advance. You're withdrawing money on a regular basis as you get the work done. Makes it simpler for everyone. But in the case where it's not, the Invoice Balance report gives you the complete insight on all your customers, how much of money they owe you, as well as the pending trust transfers. So sometimes it's not just the customer. Sometimes you may tend to forget transferring the money or informing the system that you have, in which case we tell you that as well. You can generate reports on the total discounts that you've provided in a year. That's all under Other. You can even generate a quick invoice list. How many invoices did I generate? Maybe that's an interesting question to ask. What do you know? So there's no discounts provided that year, which is awesome. You can see here, we have a little Q&A. There's about 60 invoices generated last year. And the last invoice was for the matter Larry and Jack. Who was served the most and how many invoices were served for the client? 4 was the total number of invoices for one single client, and that was for CDB Terra. So some interesting reports such as that. You can do your year-end. Again, you can do your report on capital, report on drawings. If you're a sole practitioner, right, and if you're drawing out of the business, which I'm sure you will, you can generate that document. So you could see Roger Moore has drawn a total of $19,000 out of the system. Okay, and here's the invoice balance. You can see this is demo data, so it dates back to 2016. For some more recent, if you remember our friend Gregory Brown, he had $542. $600 was the amount. And important to note that this particular column here, the third column, that is our pending trust transfer column. So this is the money that either the system has not recorded or you have not done that in real life. So generating this report today should tell you how much of money you've not recorded or should be able to move and make your money. Okay, these are all business-related accounting documents. And then I move to my favorite subject, which is the compliance-related. So under that, you have monthly and yearly. And I've done this in many, similar demonstrations or previous presentations. So if you do check our YouTube channel for the last few months, I believe in September or October, we generated a few CPD sessions that highlight Law Society compliance documents. You can go through them in detail. But the more common ones are your trust, general, ledgers, and journals. So you can generate them at a click of a button here. And we give it to you in a snapshot. So this is your December 2021 trust ledger. Okay. Other important reports that you have to do on a monthly basis are your reconciliation. If you haven't done that, again, there's another webinar where we talk about how easy it is to do these with uLaw. Because now we allow you to connect your bank with the uLaw system where you don't even have to import bank statements. We can pretty much draw information from your bank if you choose to. Okay. And some other important reports other than ledgers and journals would be your Form 9As. So let's say your auditor walks in and they're like, okay, give me your last year's Form 9As. You can pretty much come here choose the date range, and deliver it. As simple as that. These are all the Form 9As that you have, close to about 24. And it's ready to go. Okay. Last but not the least, some time-based reports. So looking under the calendar, you look under action, you have first time-based reports that start out with the timesheet. Okay. No time recorded, so let's start it as the draw blank. But let me see if I can walk you through last year's timesheet. Just for the month of December. You can generate timesheets, revenue by employee. You can also do it by customer. So here's your timesheet, because everyone gets this, right? So this is all the work put in on the 1st of January, estimated time, and billable time. So what did you actually estimate it to be? How much did you actually bill? Right, that's pretty straightforward. But right at the bottom, you have a summary, which has all your clients. And the estimated and the billable hours for that client. You also have the provider. In this case, there was just one Roger Moore who had spent 63 hours and 51 minutes last year. As estimated time, actually had billed 112 hours, 32 minutes. Good year for Roger Moore. This is, of course, just for a specific date range for Roger for the month of December. So if you want to know by month how much there was, then you can have that as well. You can see clearly that $800 is all the work put in for the month of December. And you can see the $800 for the month of December was split between Larry and Patricia. So we've taken that concept of time is money, and we've given you 3 individual reports that you can work with that convert the time into money. One is the actual time itself. How was it spent in a month or a week? Second, who within your firm spent that time, and how much was their planned time and billed time? That's very critical, I'm sure, for a law firm. And the third is how did it convert into revenue, and which customer paid you that revenue? Okay, so 3 distinct reports just under timesheet that gives you that information. Okay, all righty. Last but not the least, I know I've been talking for too long. I'm going to leave you alone in just 2 minutes. We have what's called as the analytics. And one thing I would highly encourage and request you to do is if you don't have the uLaw app downloaded, great tool, and you can drive the same level of analytics that you can view here on your app as well. So one of the advantages that you have on the web version, of course, is that you can have multiple charts or reports, dashboards, whatever you want to call them, at the same time. So for example, we looked at the P&L for last year. Do you remember, I think it was profit, and if you remember, it was 29. Now, what you could do is you can also do the P&L insights for the year before that. So what was it when the pandemic hit us in the year 2020? So profit, holy moly, there was $85,000 profit. Even though this is a kind of a test data, right? But this is kind of the insight that you're able to get. And if you need this in the reporting format, that's when you then go into the actual document generation reports and generate that, yeah? You can compare this across many things. You can even do this for pro bono. So for the year, how much of pro bono did I provide? Actually, we provided no pro bono, and hence that's empty. Whereas 2 years back, I'm hoping there's some data here. There you go. Actually did provide a lot of pro bono the year the pandemic hit us. Close to 18 customers were beneficiaries of that pro bono. Okay? So I'll wrap up by saying thank you very much for joining today's webinar. It gives you a good start for the year. Our CPD session is next week, talking about Law Society bookkeeping compliance. You can register and get notified for upcoming webinars. But from a reporting standpoint, right from contacts to matters and accounts to even time-based reporting, the platform has the capability, has the functionality, but it's you who has to provide life to this data by entering it at an appropriate time and then inferring from the data that they give you to make decisions. Okay, so I'll pause right here and leave the floor open for any questions that you may have. Please do use the chat window at all times to ask any questions. So thank you everyone for joining. I'll wait for any questions and yeah. Okay, if there aren't any questions, thank you so much for your time. I hope this was your time well spent. Look forward to seeing you at our next webinar next Friday. Thank you, everyone. Take care.